Good morning. I know you're still settling in. It's not quite 11:30, but we have our warm-up song, but I wanted to make sure that you know that this is a brand new song by our own Juliet. So this is a treasure. She's written the song to go with our theme for this book series on community, more together than alone. So we have We Are One.
Children of the living God, hearts open wide. Deep within we find God's love. We are light, we are one. We are one, we are one. We are one, we are one. Together we stand, hand in hand, one family, with love and care, song and prayer, building sacred community. We are children of the living God. We are never alone. Deep within we find God's love. We are one. Sing it with us. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are one. We are you and me. We are one. We are family. We are one in community. We are one.
Good morning. Official time to start our service. So we've got this song coming together. It's a call and response song. We've done it a few times. I sing, you repeat after me. Keith and Juliet will be repeating too, so you can follow them if you're confused. But also, listen up. This is going to be our new kids song. When the kids come in at the end of the service, we've got a new song to sing to them. We'll sing the end of this song for them. So this is our practice. Right now we get to sing the full song. All right, please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing Coming Together by Faith Rivera. Let's do that again. 2, 3. I've got love.
I've got love.
I've got peace.
I've got peace.
I've got joy.
I've got joy.
Flowing like a river.
Like a river.
I've got love.
I got love.
I've got peace.
I got peace.
I've got joy.
I got joy.
Flowing like a river.
Like a river.
One heart.
One heart.
Welcome to Unity of Walnut Creek. My name is Carl. Glad to have everybody here this windy morning. It's windy and there's things going on around us, as we're all aware. We are very pleased to welcome once again Eternal Love. That's Jared and Shauna. Love Eternal. Eternal, that sounds good either way. Yeah, it is one. So we're so glad to have you guys here. And we do have Lisa, Juliet, and Keith, as you just saw, and Dusty, Joey, and Tyler. And I also want to say thank you to the guys up in the booth. We don't always script them, but without you guys, nothing's going to happen very well. Thank you. And so I do invite you to turn your cell phones to silence as we enjoy this sacred time together. And do please join me in facing the cameras and waving and saying hello to our friends at home. Your presence does add to our community, and we're so glad to have you with us. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Our vision for the world is we envision a spiritually awakened world where life thrives in conscious oneness. And our mission is who we have come to be, and it is we are a loving, inclusive community, expanding and living our divinity in sacred service for all. And our core values are love, connection, service, and wisdom. I invite you to join me in affirming our statement of faith. Together, there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. I invite the ushers to come forward. If you are with us for the first time, let me be the first to welcome you. And we hope you'll choose to stay and meet some of us on the patio or inside if it's still so windy after the service. If you're comfortable, I invite you to raise your hand so an usher may bring you a welcome packet. If you are here for the first time and didn't want to raise your hand, which is fine, there will be welcome packets available outside after the service. Connection cards are available for everyone in the seat pockets in front of you. And with this card, you may submit a prayer request, and our prayer team will pray with you throughout the week. You may also share feedback or request information. Please place your card in this basket along with the offering later in the service. And now please take a moment to greet the people immediately around you.
One tree. Look around, all you see is part of you and part of me. 'Cause we're two branches, everybody, on just one tree. On just one tree. I look in your heart and I see me. I'm in you, you're in me. We're two branches on just one tree. Look around, all you see is part of you and part of me. We're two branches on just one tree. On just one tree. Look in your heart and I see me. Last time, I'm in you, you're in me. We're two branches on just one tree. Look around, all you see is part of you and part of me. We're two branches on just one tree. We're two branches on just one tree.
have several activities to highlight this week, and I want to let everybody know that there is jewelry and music available from our guest artist after the service, and perhaps indoors if the wind stays as tough as it was before. We're nodding inside, so inside the bookstore. You're invited to a magical and mystical Unity Green Halloween theme party this Wednesday, October 30th at 7 o'clock. Join Dr. Richard Oberleitner and his team as they guide us in activities designed to inspire community and create spiritual experiences. Do mark your calendars for next week. Our annual meeting, luncheon and meeting will be after the 11:30 service at 1 o'clock in the community room. This is your chance to get informed and renew your membership and vote for new members for the Board of Trustees. Next Sunday at midnight, please remember to turn your clocks back. You get the extra hour of sleep, but if you don't do it, you'll be showing up to church at a bizarre time. And you don't want to be that person. And also, as we heard last week, and I'm so happy to announce that Ida Risa Alit, the High Priestess of Bali, will be leading a traditional Balinese blessing ceremony here on Thursday, November 7th. Kristen, you want to come up?
You can just go ahead to we're going to actually show a video so you could get a feeling for the ceremony that Ida is going to share with us on November 7th. And if you haven't been, wow, windows within windows. Some of you may have experienced Ida Risi Ali, the High Priestess of Bali. She was here in May of 2018. And so a very similar kind of ceremony will take place here, and an opportunity to be blessed in the traditional Balinese way. So we've got our video loaded, and this will give you a sense of what to expect.
Nabarachum Shankaniru Hung Shichen Hau Kuda Uchi Tamuhu. Go deep to your heart.
So it will be her by herself with bowls and meditation and mantras and so on, but also the blessing. So we hope you can make it. It's really a rare and beautiful experience. I also wanted to acknowledge that wonderful party we had last night and all of those, yeah. So our annual fall fundraiser was last night, and it is a fun and a fundraiser. So I just want to acknowledge all those who put it on. It's a lot of work, but I know it's done with love and service and joy. So those of you who are a part of that, if you would please stand and let us acknowledge you. You want to come up? This lady was in charge, Diana Messitz, our board president. She's getting ready for the annual meeting. She made dinner for the Empower Regional. She made dinner for us at the board meeting on Wednesday, and she did the fall fundraiser. I'm like, girl, where do you get your energy? Do you want to say anything about your team or anything to your team? Or here, come over here. Oh, look how tall it is.
It's Carl's So I just want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank the team. We had some challenges that not a lot of people knew about, but we overcame them. And shout out to the kitchen team, my trusty sidekick in the back there, Susan, Tyler, my DJ, Susan, and everybody who did stuff, Bobby, everybody. So I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful, and thank you.
Thank you, Diana. We so appreciate you. Yeah. You'll get a report of the funds that we brought in as soon as we have that information. So thank you so much for being a part. And for all of you who came or signed up for a play date or donated something, if you participated in that way, also please stand, because that is a part of what makes it successful. Yeah, all right. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It truly does take a village, doesn't it? So after all of our celebration, we'll just gather up all that energy and move into a time of meditation. I want to invite Bobby Bader, one of our prayer chaplains, forward to share our reading, and it'll be followed by some beautiful music by Love Eternal and some guided meditation.
Good morning. Today's community prayer reading is an excerpt of Inscription for the Door, a poem by Eugene Ruggles. I have no enemies left, only some friends who are late. Come in. There is no lock. Hang your coat beside the fire and pull up a chair to its edge. We shall drink tea and clear the path leading back to the heart's first address. And so it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to play a little song here and then go into meditation. I was sleeping, now I'm awake. While I was sleeping, I made some mistakes. I must have hurt you. I can see it on your face. Though I know I didn't mean it, I apologize all the same. And I pray it's not too late. Not too late. I was sleeping. Opening my eyes while I was sleeping, wore a disguise. I didn't want you to notice I was hurting inside. After all that we've been through, I just want you by my side. Oh, I pray we still got time. We got time. This world, it's sleeping, but it's starting to awaken. Humankind is at the edge, and there's so much at stake. But I know it's not too late. I know it's not too late. I know it's not too late. No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not too late. No, it's not too late. No, it's not too late.
Begin to feel the awakening. It's like a rumble wind. It's nothing to fear, it's only the spirit of truth emerging. Right there in the calm of the wind is spirit. It's the I am of our being. So we stir as a humanity and as individuals, waking up again. And in some ways, waking up for the very first time. So as we feel that energy moving in us, the energy of spirit, the energy of the divine, the allness of God and the eachness of us, we see how the pathways are cleared. The light begins to dawn more brightly and more brightly. Clutter from our minds is cleared away, the old emotional hurts set aside. Our bodies are freed of disease, dis-ease. And the aches and pains are things of old we no longer remember. For we walk in light and we are made of light. Connect with one another in pure love, heart to heart, and soul to soul. Join me in a vision of this, walking upon the earth in light. The love that connects every being. Might see hands held. Circles are made. And all those who a moment ago needed healing are whole and vital and well. And all the places where there were rifts and conflicts and grudges and resentments, there are hugs and reuniting. Wherever there was pain of any kind, emotional or physical, we see now how that is dissolved in the light of God's love. And our love for each other, and our love for the animals and the plants and the trees, and they for us. And there is no us and them anymore. We remember our oneness. Remember from that which we came, the one light and the one love, the one truth. And so indeed we do awaken. Yes, maybe we were sleeping a moment ago, but we're awake now. And it is in this light and this love and this truth of our awakening that we rest for a moment, feel it and to marvel at it, to be with it, to be one in the silence. So from this place of awakening, of knowing the truth, of seeing the vision of our unison, knowing that we are the calm that stands in the midst of the winds. We are the water for the fire. Thank you, Spirit, for being that through us. We are awake and willing and ready to serve, to be all that we've come to be, to unite together, for we are truly more together than alone. And so it is.
This world is sleeping, starting to awaken. Humankind is at the edge of consciousness, and there's so much at stake. But I know it's not too late. I know it's not too late. I know it's not too late. No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not too late. No, it's not too late. No, it's not too late. This world was sleeping, but it's starting to awaken. Humankind is at the edge, and there's so much at stake. But I know it's not too late. No, it's not too late. I know it's not too late. No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not too late. No, it's not too late. No, it's not too late.
Thank you. We play a different center every Sunday, and they're all saying the same thing, but they're all slightly different.
It's like that Rumi quote, all the singing one song.
Yes. So this song we're going to play is called More Than This, and we did a last-minute change inspired by Reverend's talk earlier, because it seems in alignment. But before we play, I would like you to do something, if you wouldn't mind. I'd like you to take a moment and close your eyes if you feel willing. And I want you to imagine a time you felt immense love. And I want you to try to transport yourself to that moment. For me, it was the birth of my children, holding my newborns in my arm, and just feeling like that absolute love just pouring through you. And remembering that this love and this feeling is always there because it's coming through us from the divine source. It's always available to us. And as much love as you can possibly feel, the divine is more than this. It's just always beckoning us to just reach that higher and higher vibration. Yeah? Yeah. Okay. We must do more than just survive. We're here to thrive. This earth was made for you and I, children of the Most High. We are more than this. We are more than this. We are more than this. So much more than this. We are more than this. We are more than this. So much more than this. We are more than this. We are more than this. So much more than this. We are more than this. We are more Every blade of grass has an angel that beckons it to grow. Every blade of grass has an angel that beckons it to grow. Every blade of grass has an angel that beckons it to grow. And I know I see you, my Father, always calling me higher. So I allow it to be. Sweet compassion, a passion to see the equality, not to pity, but hold thee in thy highest divinity. Oh, I bring the yes, shall manifest still. Greater work shall manifest through thee. If you believe we are more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. You can sing that along if you choose. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. Yeah. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. Does your hourly wage write a page in history or tell the story of a busy bee serving the queen of immortality? Or this Babylonian consciousness, it does not serve me anymore. They can build their towers out of rocks and slime, them trying to reach the Most High. But they would not look inside, and the search goes on today. We are more than this, I say. We are more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. You sound beautiful. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this.
Claim it.
So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this.
We are, yeah, so much more. More than our body, more than our skin, more than our country, more than our kin. Yeah, we are, yeah, so much more. More than our joy, more than our pain, more than our losses, more than our gain. Yeah, we are, yeah, so much more.
So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. Every blade of grass has an angel that beckons it to grow. Every blade of grass has an angel that beckons it to grow. Every blade of grass has an angel that beckons it to grow. And I know I see you, my mother, always calling me higher. So I allow it to be. We are more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this, we are more than this, we are more than this. So much more than this. Thank you so much. You sound beautiful.
Beautiful. Got lost in that chant. So I don't know if you noticed the subtle reference in the song. Huh? Lattes? Oh! I think you'll catch on in a minute here. So thousands of years ago, maybe 2,500, maybe 3,000, I'm not sure exactly, there was a city named Babel in the land of Shamir. And Babel was built by a... Got it? Babbling. There was Babel. Yeah, that was great. Right on cue, huh? Babel was built by a man named Nimrod. Really was his name. And Nimrod was the probably great grandson of Noah. No, actually, I think it would say great-grand, and it doesn't matter. He was several generations back from Noah, so he came by his building, his prowess to build very honestly, right? Noah built the ark, as we know, the great epic flood with all the animals going 2 by 2. And when the flood was over, there's the one human family still together, all in this little city called Babel. And somebody in the city had an idea to build a tower. The idea was that if they built the tower high enough, they could reach God. They could enter the kingdom of heaven that way. They could get closer to God. And so they began to build. And when they got a little closer and a little closer, suddenly something happened. There was a confusion of their languages. It appears that God didn't really like the idea of them building the tower to heaven. And so they couldn't, there was just mayhem, right? They couldn't understand each other. They all spoke different languages. And so when they came back down from the tower, everybody dispersed in different directions according to the languages they could understand of one another. And that's the parable of how language began, the multiple languages that we have on the earth. But of course, as with all these stories, they have a deeper other meaning as well. Charles Fillmore, our co-founder, wrote with many scholars the book, The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. And in it, he talks about this story as a story of our confusion that ensues when we think that it is through outer means that we reach the divine. So there was a line about the tower and this idea in their song. And so this idea that we think that somehow that through our mental capacity or our physical capacity that we get lost in the distractions of the world and we think somehow that's going to bring us closer. And instead, of course, it is the opposite of that, right? It's the inward journey. It's the going within. It's through spirit that we come closer. So it's that place that, that old parable of how God was put in all these different places and before creation, and it was said, oh, they'll never find you at the high mountain, or they'll never find you, let's put God below the earth, and they'll never, oh no, they'll dig, they'll find you there, and all these different places, and it's like, oh, I got it, let's put God within them, they'll never think to look there, And so it is that this turning of moving ourselves from the things we get caught up in mind and the things we get caught up in creating in the world, in the physical, that isn't really going to get us there. That first we must look within. Charles Fillmore also pretty famously said that at one point, because it was the 1800s when a lot of these new ideas were coming forth, these philosophies of transcendentalism and some of the ideas that were coming out of Christian Science about faith healing, and there were many, many movements that were coming together and that were influencing a lot of new thoughts. And Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founders, were a part of that revolution, a part of that period of time. But there was so much different stuff to think about and to take in and to meditate upon. And Charles said in his frustration, and all this babble, I'm going to go straight to headquarters, because if this God is spirit and I'm spirit, as according to what they say, then the two of us must be able to communicate, or the whole thing is a fraud. And so it was through that he sort of very scientifically, in a way, very kind of a cold and calculated sort of sit down, and I'm going to sit here and pray and see what happens, But it was over time that something started to stir within him. This was, of course, after he watched what Myrtle did and saw what worked for her. And so it's this idea that the towers that we build, whatever those metaphors are, right? These ideas that we build that we think are somehow this is it. This is the innovation that is the highest and best, right? That's going to get us to the divine, to be the king or the queen of whatever, is so off the mark, because it has to start from that internal spirit. It has to start from that internal bonding, essentially. If a bricklayer is going to make something, any good bricklayer will know that you have to put your bonding material down first, right? You have to have that which the brick will stick to. And it is this divine spirit, this love within us, this light within us that is the sticking. That is the stuff that brings us together with the truth of who we are and the parts of ourselves. And it's what brings us together, one to another, one heart to another, one soul to another, one spirit to another. So one of the things about in the story, the language idea, that there are all this confusion of the languages, right? Initially, because there are all these different languages. So initially, we think we can't understand each other. How many of you have ever had an interaction with somebody who spoke a different language and you understood each other perfectly, even though you didn't speak that actual language? Anybody have that experience? Oh, lots of you have. Yeah, isn't that amazing how we can transcend that? In fact, often it's very sacred to hear a chant or a song in another language because we feel it underneath the words, right? We're not caught up in the words that keep us up here, but instead we're in that place of feeling. And so that helps us. I remember being in Italy once, and I was lost, and this man came up to help me, and I didn't speak a word of Italian, and he didn't speak a word of English, and I completely and perfectly understood his directions as if GPS were standing there. But he was full of gestures, so I got all of his gestures and his intent, and so his intent for me to understand and my intent to understand him was enough. As many of you who raised your hand know, that it is the underlying that allows us to understand one another. So in Spanish, there's a word called conocimiento. And conocimiento doesn't really have an exact translation in English, but it's basically to nurture connection by sharing knowledge with each other. And so the basic idea is that it is by sharing with one another that we connect. Roberto Vargas, who's a community expert, said conocimiento is like if I reach out my hand and I say something, I introduce myself and I share something about myself, and then I invite you to share something about yourself. And so it goes, the connection, right? It's a connection. It's how we connect. Another way he says it is conocimiento is like when I sit with my mother or my daughter and I say, "How are you doing?" It's that kind of pause and connection and really wanting to know, from that heart space. It's not when we pass each other quickly and we're all caught up in our projects and wherever it is that we think we have to go in such a hurry and we say, "How are you?" "Oh, I'm fine. How are you?" And we're not even really listening or looking. And so, we all do that, right? We all get caught up in laying the bricks without any bonding, just or focused on laying the next brick, focused on what it is we think we are creating out here, what we are building out here, what we are expanding in the mind, but we sometimes lose track of what we need here for it to stick, for that innovation or that project or that creation to really make something of itself, essentially. So this concept of conocimiento, I think I experienced pretty directly on Thursday. I was on BART. I was headed to a meeting in San Francisco, and it was really, it was morning, so it was really busy on BART, as apparently it always is at that time. And I was, standing about a foot away from all of my neighbors, and I just started looking around the train and noticed pretty much everybody, not everybody, but almost everybody had their phone out, and that's what they were doing, in their time. So, and I had been thinking about getting my phone out, but I had a cup of tea in my hand, so I couldn't juggle it all. So I was just sipping my tea and looking around and noticing. And then I thought, you know what? I'm not going to get my phone out because I know what's going to happen when I get my phone out. I'm going to click on this, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to read this story and that story, and I'm going to read about everything that divides us and ails us. And that doesn't sound like a great way to start the day, and it doesn't really sound like what I want to be doing anyway. And so I thought, I'm curious about the people around me. So the man sitting on his bike right in front of me, I just struck up a conversation with him. Now, on the outside, we would look very different. Male, female, black, white. He's from, I found out, from the northern or the southern United States. I'm from the northern United States, you know. So there's all these, you know, we could keep looking for differences, and I'm sure we could find a lot. But instead, we just started talking about bicycling and about other things, and I mentioned that I bicycled in San Francisco once, but then I had to kind of walk it back and say, well, actually, I walked the hills of San Francisco with my bike. And so we had a good laugh together, and then somehow we got on the topic of homelessness, and we were talking about, you know, just out of a care and concern and a curiosity about that, we were sharing stories of things we've experienced, and so there was all this connection going on in their 30-minute ride, you know, that could have been divided and separated like we tend to do in our society instead. And I thought about how, you know, if my new friend and I were to engage in a project at this point, maybe a bicycle project or a homelessness project or giving bicycles to homeless people, I don't know, but something, obviously, that we both were interested in and connected on, and we have different perspectives and experiences of, we could really create something out of just that initial bond. Had we not bonded first, the project that we would create, I don't think, would be as effective or as successful. And so it's the base of everything, this inner bonding with spirit, and then this bonding spirit to spirit, heart to heart. It's the glue that holds whatever it is that we want to co-create, whatever it is that we want to build. That is the space in which we make for it. So it's such a key thing, and it's such a simple thing, really. You know, Mark Nepo, the author of the book we're using for this fall series, More Together Than Alone, he says that what we build visibly in the world depends on what we build invisibly between us. Anything that we build visibly in the world, it depends on what we have built invisibly between us. You see, if we build out of separation, if we build out of divisiveness, if we build out of this otherness, our tower's going to crumble, whatever that proverbial tower is. Something's going to happen. We're not going to reach that ultimate place that we wanted to reach because we've missed the mark somehow. So Mark tells of another story, of another version of the story of the Tower of Babel that was in Genesis that I talked about a few moments ago. It's one out of the land of Uruk, which is where Iraq is now. And in this story, a very similar story, that the people is the first human tribe, the first family, human family, still together. And they're in the land of Uruk, and somebody has a great idea. Let's build a tower. And they want to build a tower. This time, the purpose in this story is they build that tower because if they build it, a nice high tower, that when the people are off in the forest or in the fields or whatever it is, they will always be able to find their way home because it'll be the center of the village and it'll be a great marker that will be seen all over the land. So the people at that time were very excited about this dream and this idea, and they had a lot of passion for it. And so they began to build, and they were making lots of progress. But I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but even back then, they experienced the fact that the building took a lot longer than they estimated originally. Anybody ever experienced that in the world? It seems to always be that way, doesn't it? And so it was 3 generations later, and the tower was still not complete. So now we've got the great-great-grandchildren of the original people that had this united purpose and passion and excitement to build this tower so everybody could find home. And the generation then had kind of lost the plot, you know? They weren't that excited about the purpose. They didn't want to, they were doing it because it was their duty, right? That's what they were supposed to do, was to build the tower, but they were building on somebody else's dreams, and it wasn't their own. They didn't own it. Anybody ever had those experiences? in your families and institutions. It's everywhere, right? That we are still kind of marching along and we're just not really sure why we're doing what we're doing. But everybody else is doing it, or that's what we were taught that we were supposed to do, or that's what our ancestors did, or whatever it may be. And so we're sort of lackluster, kind of going through the motions. And so this is the case for these folks. So at this time when they were building, it would take about a year for a worker to get all the way, or for a brick to travel all the way to the top of the tower and lay a brick. So you can imagine how slow going this is going to be. And they still got a pretty good tower, but they're working. So one day a worker reaches the top to put the brick on, and something happens, and he falls, and the worker dies. Here's the really sad part, even sadder part. The people mourned the loss of the brick more than the loss of the worker. Because sometimes we put the object over the people. Sometimes we think the thing that we are making, the material thing, the object, whatever it is more important than the people. And this is when we really get confused. And that's about when the confusion started. In fact, it's just about then that the same thing happened in this story, where suddenly everybody spoke different languages and nobody could understand each other. And part of the reason why they couldn't understand each other is because they had lost this home, right? They had lost their heart, their connection to heart, their connection to spirit, the connection to each other. They had lost their connection to the purpose. They had lost their connection to a life, an aliveness, a passion. And so it was out of that then this confusion was created, and out of the greater confusion, they attempted to loot heaven. And so all of this happened once again, that the language caused the people to disperse in many different directions. So here we are again in a kind of babel, right? But what really ails us? What really ails us is this kind of brick over person thing, brick over worker thing, object over thing over life. That's really where we get tripped up, isn't it? That's really where the confusion happens. And what could help us, in Chinese, there's the word for crisis actually means challenge and opportunity. And so if we can no longer speak the same languages and we are dispersing, what is our charge? To find home again, right? And as we find home, we begin to get closer and closer to truth, closer and closer to spirit, closer and closer to one another, and we realize, oh, we do have more in common. We do have some of the same language. We do have some of the same values. We do have some of the same things that connect us. In fact, we have the same source at home that connects us and animates us and gives us life. And so it's that kind of homecoming that we're really in today, it seems to me, that we are all kind of walking back home and on the way awakening to our purpose, awakening to our spirit, awakening to each other, awakening to the fact that we are one human family. We have one religion, love. We speak one language, the language of spirit, the language of our souls. And even where we are uniquely one, that is a part of the beauty of our diversity. So instead of seeing the languages and the cultures and the differences as some kind of problem, we begin to see them for the richness that they bring, the tapestry that we weave, the wholeness that comes together through our uniqueness, through our diversity, through the beauty of that we make something more beautiful and more creative and stronger and more resilient. So it's that space that it seems that we are coming back into, to recognize that heaven, no, it's not made out of brick, but we have this beautiful sort of symphony available to us of all that we are and can be together. It's much like the birds, when they awake in the morning, they begin to sing to the first light, right? And the first bird sings, and it's a song of joy for the light, but it's also they're creating a map to find each other. And so out of the confusion of the darkness comes the light and comes the voice of one bird to let another bird know, here I am, isn't it a beautiful day? And then another bird says, oh, I hear you, there you are, here I am. And then yet another bird, and then yet another bird, and yet another bird. And before you know it, we have this harmony of all these unique voices singing together in one song. That's really key for us, isn't it? I think we have a slide of some birds singing. That's kind of what it looks like, right? One song that they make together. And it can be a variety of different kinds of birds that add to the song. And it can be a call and response sometimes, like we just sang a little bit ago, where there's a leader who starts the song and then another bird that echoes that song, because the birds feel it in their hearts, right? They sing from their hearts. And that's really a reminder to us of that natural energy that we have within us, that natural ability that we have within us to find that which brings us joy, that which is the light, that which is dawning on us, this awakening that is dawning, and sing for that, and we find each other through that. The birds also are true to their own soul song. So in finding our voice, we don't muffle our voice to try to fit in, but we do our own soul song, our own unique soul song, because that is needed. Otherwise, there's a rent in the fabric of humanity. There's a hole in the song sheet of humanity where we don't have the courage to sing our own soul song, where we muffle our voice. And then it is also for us to hear the uniqueness and the beauty of each other's soul songs, to recognize that everybody has something to bring to the table, that everybody has something to bring to the tower. We all have bricks made from around the world, if you will, but those bricks are infused now and understood that they have to be bonded together in order to make what it is that we co-create together. So this is the base, that it's all about bonding in order to build. That it's all about recognizing the diversity that comes together as one, like the birds. That is really the key to this walk of knowing that we are more together than alone, of knowing that community is what really drives us at this time to awaken. Community is sort of the toolbox that we have to spiritually awaken. And so it has to be the connection here, but it can't stop there. For so long, our unity movement has been about the individual path, right? The personal path, the personal experience and the spiritual practice of the one individual. And that is a centering piece. That is an absolute important piece, but it's not where it ends. Today, we are really drawn to get out in the world and to co-create with each other. It must be so. And we must see our differences as something that is a part of the whole, that will be a wonderful addition to whatever it is that we are making together. At Unity, we have a new vision statement. We envision a spiritually awakened world where all life thrives in conscious oneness. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, it took a lot of voices in this community, a lot of opinions, a lot of ideas, a lot of brainstorming and heart-storming and prayer to come up with that. But in the end, we came back to spiritual awakening and oneness. We came back to seeing that truth and that all life, that inclusivity of all life thrives in that. And in order to do that, we just must remember that the bonding happens before the building. So other people will come here, new people will come through our doors, and it will be our call to bond, to create to put a hand out, conocimiento. Let me tell you something about me, let me hear something about you. Let's make a bond. Because as we make a bond, we can then build the spiritually awakened world. We can then build a world that thrives in conscious oneness. So we are builders and we are bonders of spirit. That's the truth of who we are. Let's know it together. I am a bonder and builder of spirit. So you are. So it is.
Thank you, Kristen. My wife and I are going to be going to Korea to do some educating on getting into your heart connection practice. And but we don't speak Korean and they don't speak English except for Christina does. And so it'll be fun. So this is like a nice kickoff talk to get us launched off on our trip. Thank you. Our prayer chaplains are available after this service to provide personal prayer support. If you're a prayer chaplain serving today, please stand. Bobby and Susan. You can see our prayer chaplains and Charles in the back. How you doing, Charles? Have their beautiful lavender stoles on. And whether you have a joy or a concern in your heart today, praying with our prayer chaplains is a powerful way to have your intentions lifted up in consciousness. Now let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As we give, we shall receive. For in truth there is no lack or limitation, and abundance is our true nature. For your convenience, there are a variety of ways to give financially to this community. For electronic giving, you may donate using the Give app or take an envelope from the clipboard on the back of the chair in front of you. Those of you at home may click on Give Here or the Donate button on the Watch Live page. I invite you to take your tithe or offering in your hand and repeat our affirmation with me. Together, divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful. Thank you.
Yeah, multitasking. All right, we're going to play one more song for you guys, and I surely hope you will sing along. It's very easy. The chorus is very easy. And then after church, we have a table in the bookstore because it's too windy outside, but we have CDs and stickers, and my wife makes this amazing jewelry. And if you feel so called to come support us so we can get on down to the next center. I think we play Chico CSL next Sunday. So give thanks. Say, I am not a victim,
no.
and there is no one here to blame. So I acknowledge love's presence here as my life. I feel joy this day. I say, I am not a victim, no, and there is nobody here to blame. So I acknowledge love's presence here as my life. I feel joy this day. I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed. You want to sing that along with us?
That's it, you got it.
I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed. So keep on moving, just a step by step. Keep breathing and a breathing blood, breath by breath. There's no beginning and there is no end. There's only now, my friend. There's only now, my friend. For feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed. I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed. All right, bro.
Truly blessed.
This whole universe behind you, 'cause you do.
Yes, you do.
And keep on living like you got 10,000 angels to guide you, 'cause it's true.
Yes, it's true.
And keep on living like you got this
true. Yes, it's true. I am not a victim,
No.
and there is no one here to blame. So I acknowledge God's presence here as my light. I feel joy this day.
This day.
I feel joy this day. I feel peace this day. I feel faith in humanity this day. And then I go into a place inside where everything will be alright. I know everything's okay. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed. I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed.
Thank you. Aloha.
I was hoping we'd get to hear a little of your reggae. All right. Thank you, Spirit, for these abundant gifts that continue to flow through us and as us and to us. We are so, so richly blessed in every way, feeling better all the time, in bringing those vibes of betterness out into the world. Let's bless this together. We give thanks for the ever-increasing, constant flow of absolute good in our lives now. So it is. Oh my, I see witches and fairies and all kinds of things coming our way.
Repeat after me. One heart,
One heart,
one mind,
one mind,
one love, coming together. We're coming together. We're coming together.
coming together.
We're coming together.
We're coming together.
We're coming together.
We're coming together.
One heart,
One heart,
one mind,
one mind,
one love,
one love.
coming together. Do that again. One heart,
One heart,
one mind,
one mind,
one love,
one love.
coming together.
Good morning.
We have some really cute costumes here. Do you guys want to share what you are today? Who wants to share what they are and why they chose that? Claire?
I'm the number 8 because 8 is my favorite number.
So cute. Anybody else?
I'm a crow because I like crows.
Oh, wow.
You want to share? Anybody else? Yeah, down there.
I'm the sun and the clouds on the sky.
Yeah. We also have a fairy and we have Spider-Man. And I'm just dressed normal. I just rolled out of bed like this. So we are having our very last week of our pumpkin sale. They have not all blown away. We're hoping to sell out today. This has been a great success. It's been so wonderful for the kids and just to connect with all of you. But we're kind of tucked around the corner today because we don't want to blow away. So we have apple cider, hot apple cider, and treats. So come and see us, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for wearing your costumes today and bringing us some Halloween joy. We appreciate that. All right, let's bless our children and teachers together. Children, youth, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. So I invite you now to take your neighbor's hand if you feel comfortable doing that as we close out with our prayer of protection and our peace song. Together, the light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With one ever-present family all of me. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. You are the light and the love and the peace on earth right now. So let your light shine, have fun, and shine, spread joy. Shine joy.